Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Leafs Talk Live, featuring myself, Jake, and I have a special guest here in Kasimir Kaskisuo. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to get this thing rolling.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the show. We're excited to have you on. Leafs Nation's excited to have you on. And it's a big week here on Leafs Talk Live. Now, you have a YouTube channel, and for those who don't know, it's a great channel. There's a lot of great content on it. I suggest you guys check it out. One of my favorite parts from his YouTube channel was the YouTube bubble blog from the NHL bubble. Now, I wanted to ask you because the NHL, the bubble seemed like a grueling process, being away from family and friends for such a long time. Now, can you give me some insight as to what that bubble was like?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of opened it up pretty well in the bubble in the videos. But if you haven't seen them, it was not as bad as like you would think, like being away from family. I mean, for us, it kind of went by pretty quick, 5 games, but um, everything was taken care of nicely. We stayed busy, so it kind of like worked out because practice days we'd go to the rink kind of in the middle of the day, and then you have a little bit of time in the morning or at night, so it kind of went by quick. And then obviously game days we'd skate in the morning and then head to the rink at night to watch the game. So everything went quick. Every day was kind of the same if it was a practice day or a game day, but other than that, like everything was great. Like the hotel had taken care of us. We could order food if we wanted. The teams have set up great catering for us. So yeah, it definitely worked out for us. But I mean, I can see the not seeing your family becoming a factor if you go like three rounds or go in the finals, and it kind of gets pretty long. But for the short time we were there, it wasn't bad at all.
Definitely, it was a short time there, but I mean, you guys definitely had some top-notch care. The hotels, they are great hotels. I've stayed in one of them myself. They're great hotels, and I was wondering if the NHL made you go into a bubble for this season, is that something you'd be willing to do again?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I'm just itching to play hockey again, and hopefully the season gets going here sooner than later. I don't think it's going to be a full on bubble like we had in the playoffs, and kind of like a hub kind of thing that maybe we'll go for a little bit and stuff. But I don't really know anything. So, but yeah, I would be definitely open to doing the bubble again, but definitely not for the full season. If we go out a little at a time or something like that. But yeah, it's been nice not the off season, just kind of spend some time with family and friends. And but yeah, definitely want to play hockey again, and no matter what it takes.
Yeah, definitely. I like the answer. Just want to get back out on the ice, itching to get back out there. Now, there's a scenario that happened with the Maple Leafs prior to entering the bubble, and this had a lot to do with the emergency goaltender. The Maple Leafs, if for the people that aren't aware of it, I'm sure everybody watching this is aware of it. The Carolina Hurricanes had two goalies go down in a game, and there was no third goaltender on the team there. They ultimately had to go to a Zamboni driver. Now, do you think that NHL teams should be able to carry a third goalie at all times?
It kind of gets tricky for sure if you carry a third goalie. Like, who would it be in a way? If it's someone who's a younger guy, like he's just not going to get the games he would get in the AHL. And I mean, everybody wants to play. And if I was in that position that I would be the third guy in a team, um, I don't know. Obviously, I would embrace the opportunity to be in the NHL, but I'd obviously want to be even in the minors to be playing games. So uh, yeah, I mean it's a tricky situation for sure. Definitely for the teams their AHL team in the same city as NHL, that kind of helps out. But if you're on the road, like anything can happen. I mean, yeah, it's just a tough question. I mean, I'm looking at it as the third, pretty much the third guy. So there's one part that yeah, you'd want to be up in the NHL, but if you're not playing, you'd want to be down playing games to develop a little more. So
Yeah,
yeah, if something like that happens, it's definitely a good question in a way. Who should be available? But I mean, yeah, it's not my decision to make those calls.
yeah, for sure. I mean, if I was in your position, I would definitely want the extra games to develop, right? But on the other hand, I wouldn't turn down any opportunity to be on an NHL team at any time. So I can see what you're saying. It's a very tricky situation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, probably if AHL gets canceled this season or gets pushed even further, that'd be the best case scenario to be the third guy and with the team for sure.
Yeah, and we were just talking about development and facing a lot of shots. Now, I've heard this a bunch on different broadcasts throughout my life of just watching hockey. And now that I'm asking a professional goaltender, I have the opportunity to actually get some insight on this. I was wondering if facing a low volume of shots really affects a goaltender's concentration throughout a game. Say you're getting a bunch of shots in the first period, and then you go almost the full second period without facing any shots. Does that affect your concentration a lot?
It's definitely hard. I mean, concentration is one part, and just kind of how you feel physically as well comes into play. In your eyes, how you're seeing the puck. I mean, if there's long periods of times I don't see a shot, I feel like when the next shot comes, it's like it's faster than it actually is, and then you haven't been really doing too many save motions, and then you might feel awkward making the save. So it's definitely nice to get a lot of shots. I usually play better the more shots I have, and it just kind of keeps you in the game, less thinking. Like the concentration part, you're just in the game. You're not thinking. You're letting the game come to you, and you feel confident and that you're seeing a lot of pucks and you're making those saves. So just like in practice, we see shots all the time. So I think that's kind of what we're going after in games to get comfortable out there.
So it just gives you a better feel if you're getting a bunch of shots the whole time throughout the game. You don't like those breaks throughout too often.
No, it's like definitely like when you're seeing shots, like you're used to the rhythm and you're used to making saves. So if you go 10, 15 minutes without a shot, it's just kind of, I don't know, you get a little cold out there. And then you're kind of not as sure about you making those saves. So that's usually how you see if goalies don't get a lot of shots, then they might let in a couple bad ones or whatnot. Some rebound control might be an issue. So, yeah, I prefer a lot of shots, but obviously, if you can get away with a low shooting game with no goals against, so that's obviously works out as well.
Yeah, I can see that because I was always wondering because I've heard it on broadcast throughout, and I've never played goalie in my life. I was always a defenseman when I played hockey. So I was just wondering. I appreciate the answer to that question. That's some great insight. Now, we wanted to talk a little bit about your time with the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. This is Maple Leafs media show, so it goes without saying there's going to be some questions about the Maple Leafs. And you were here under two different head coaches. You were here under both Mike Babcock and Sheldon Keefe. There's some stories. I'm not going to go too into detail about when Mike Babcock was here. Maybe he's a bit hard on players. Did you ever experience anything like that under Babcock? And can you attest to anything?
No, I mean Babs was great to me even the 4 years, the 3.5 that I was with the Leafs organization, and never really experienced any of those things that kind of were circulating around him, and yeah, he always was good to me, and so I got nothing bad to say, and he was the one who gave me my first NHL game, so I'm grateful for that.
That's great. That's great to know. Because Toronto's media, sometimes stuff can get a little out of hand, and stories can spin a lot. Stuff happens with the Toronto media. Now, as I was saying, you were here under both Sheldon Keefe and Mike Babcock. Could you compare the coaching styles of the two?
Yeah, I mean, I had Sheldon in the minors for a few years, so and I didn't really get to see Babs too much other than training camp and the the week or so I was up when he was there. So, but all I can say is that guys really like Sheldon, and I mean, there's a lot of Marlies on that Leafs team, and so I feel like that's an advantage for Sheldon with those guys that they kind of know him from before, and Sheldon knows the players well. So there's like that kind of a relationship from development, and I mean, Babs was, of course, demanding. Both of those guys are with both guys have authority, so yeah, I mean, to me as a goalie, like I can't say too much about the systems, but um, yeah, I mean, to me, both were great coaches, and I'm happy that I got to play under both of those guys.
It's great to know. Great to know. As saying that you were in the locker room for last season, you were up with the team, and there's been a lot of talk in Leafs Nation about what's been missing on this Maple Leafs team for the past couple of years. If anything, you don't have to say if anything was wrong, but if there was something missing from this team, what do you think it was in 2019?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a lot of talent, and I'm always amazed when I get on the ice with those guys how good they are and how skilled they are, and um, I mean, the team can play good defensively as well. So like it's I feel like that's kind of like what the Toronto media is trying to find, always trying to find something. So, uh, but yeah, I mean, I see no obstacles for that team, and I think a lot of people have obviously talked about the toughness and all that stuff, and I feel like they kind of added that during um, the free agency. So, and those young guys are getting older and get more mature, so that's going to help out definitely when the big games roll around.
Okay, okay. And we're looking at what was missing from the team, but the Leafs added some pretty big names in free agency this year. Names like Joe Thornton, Wayne Simmons. I was wondering which of these signings do you think will impact the Maple Leafs the most in 2020?
I think I think like you said, Thorne and Simmons both guys have experience, which can help those younger guys. And kind of having that experience is so huge when you have a younger core, and just kind of they've been around, and they play the game the right way. So I definitely think that's going to be helpful. Just like bringing a guy like Spezza in a couple years ago was definitely a big boost for those younger guys, and just kind of being around him and hearing his stories, and just kind of how he acts every day as a pro. I feel like those two new guys can definitely boost that up a little bit next season.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have those two on the team. But I was sad to see you depart, and you went to Nashville in free agency. That leads me to ask you a question about what are you going to miss the most, and what are you going to miss the least about the city of Toronto?
Most and the least. Um, I mean, that was where my daughter was born, and obviously played my first seasons and first pro contract. So there's always going to be some good memories, including that, and uh, playing my first NHL games for the Leafs as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful city, kind of like Finland, and kind of like, oh, the weather is kind of like Finland, and kind of like Minnesota, where I kind of stay during the off season. So that was nice about it, and fans were great. Always at the Marlies rink or the Leafs rink, and I kind of like how it's pretty much the hockey capital of the world, and you always see Leafs hats and jerseys walking around around town. So that's pretty cool to see how devoted the fans are. And I don't know if there's anything I'm gonna well, I guess miss the most or miss the least is probably the traffic. I'd have to say that's probably an easy answer for anyone that's driven around the GTA. So, yeah, that's as much as I can say, I think.
That's fair. Getting into the arena on game day must be a hassle.
Yeah.
But I like what you had to say about the city of Toronto. It's a great city, and as you said, it is the hockey capital of the world, at least in Canada here. It's not Montreal.
Mhm.
So we were gonna ask, because you're departing, so we wanted to show your new threads with the Nashville Predators. You have picked number 93. I believe you've picked it.
73.
Is there 73?
Yeah.
Yes. Is there a number why you picked 73?
Um, it was just kind of fun for the first time, kind of to pick a number. The last few years, I've bounced around with a bunch of different numbers, whether I was Marlies or a couple different. I think I've had 3 different numbers for the Marlies, and then Leafs just kind of gave me the 50. I never got to really pick anything, and even in Orlando and when I was loaned out to Chicago, just different numbers everywhere. So I made sure I reached out to those equipment guys early, and I picked 73 kind of because I was 33 in college and kind of wanted to incorporate that 3 in the number. And 73, I feel like was available on both Nashville and Milwaukee, and it's a little different, a little higher number to test it out how it feels. And it's like the little fact is that like my wife's name is Whitney, and she has 7 letters on her name, and my daughter's Fox, and she has 3, so 7 and 3, so it kind of works out. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it looks good, and just to try something different.
That's cool. That's cool. That's real cool. I like it a lot. It's got a little meaning to it, and you've worn it the same number throughout, so that's cool. Um, Going to Nashville, you're gonna have the opportunity to play with another Finnish goaltender in Pekka Rinne. He's a veteran. He's done a lot of great things in the NHL. Have you talked to him at all? And if anything, what do you think your biggest takeaway is going to be from your time with Pekka?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't talked to him, and they have their other goalies Finnish as well, uses Haro, so they have two Finnish goalies with Nashville, and haven't met neither of those guys, but definitely excited to go to camp and meet them and kind of finally talk some Finnish and trying to bring my Finnish language up to par a little bit. So I'm kind of losing it a little bit, but yeah, I think the biggest takeaway, just excited, like Pekka's done it all and been around for a long time, and definitely one of the staples in Finnish goaltending. So I think just being around him, kind of watching him do his thing, and yeah, how professional he is, and definitely how he approaches the game. And I'm sure he's got a lot of help that he can share, and how he with the mental side and all that stuff with the experience that he has. So definitely excited to meet both of those guys and get the thing rolling.
Did you so you grew up speaking Finnish, I'd assume then?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Do you just speak the 2 languages? That's a lot, but do you speak the 2 languages anymore, or?
Yeah, just Finnish. I mean, I moved over from Finland to here when I was 19, and I knew English before I moved over. Kind of have it at school pretty well, and then also took some Swedish lessons, but that never worked out for me, and wasn't too interested in learning that. So but I know some words, and there's been a lot of Swedish guys with the Leafs and the Marlies, so I kind of pick up some things here and there what they're saying on the bus or at the rink.
Yeah, it's a lot to learn a new language. I can't really do it. I mean, I'm sure I could if I put it all into it, but I'm not that dedicated to do it. We want to get into some more about you. Some more questions about yourself. I've got a good list of questions here to ask you. Now, growing up or just throughout your career, who has had the biggest impact on you throughout your career?
That's a good question. I think there's been a lot of goalie coaches that uh, have have played a part, and I mean, the first time I wanted to try being a goalie, I think I was six years old probably, and the team had like some kind of a goalie coach. So there's always been a goalie coach, which has been very helpful, kind of run some different drills and whatnot. So and great coaches as well. I mean, obviously all the teammates play a big part, and always was lucky enough to have some teammates who wanted to be the best version of themselves and play the best hockey as they can. And so I think it's a big combination of all the coaches and teammates, and even other goalies, my goalie partners, to kind of had some good relationships with them. So I think that's kind of where it all kind of comes into play.
Yeah. Hey, viewers, you heard it here on Leafs Talk Live. If a goalie coach, your peers, if they're helping you out, take their advice. Take their advice for sure, because it's going to help you in the long run. Now, at what age did you realize you wanted to be a goalie? I think you just said yourself in that last question, but is it 6 years old, you said?
Yeah, I think something like that. I can't really remember what the exact, but somewhere around there. I think we started to our team started to brought like goalie gear into the rink, and like say like two guys every practice be a goalie, and we'll just switch off every time. And when it was my turn to be goalie, I just after practice I said I can be the goalie every time. So I think that's how it started.
Did you start as a goal when you first picked up goaltending pads? Did you start on ice or did you start with a little road hockey? How'd that start?
On the ice, I think definitely during the summers we played a lot of uh, a lot of road hockey and with the ball and stuff like that with the friends around the block. And so but yeah, mostly on the ice. I was lucky enough to get a lot of ice time as a kid growing up. So yeah, a lot of hockey on the ice, and that's kind of how I learned to play goalie.
That's awesome. Now flipping a bit over to a different subject other than hockey for a second. If you weren't a hockey player, what would your career be?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean, hockey's always been 100% for me, and I'm lucky enough to live out that dream and be a professional hockey player. And but if right now I would probably if I now I had to switch, I don't know, probably something. I mean, I don't know if anything involving hockey is the legit answer to this one, but I don't know. I like especially doing those YouTube videos and stuff. So like uh, graphic design kind of stuff is interesting to me right now, and obviously the gaming and esports side. So um, if right now I have to completely switch off, and that's probably would be something that I'd look into.
That's really cool. Graphic design. That's what my girlfriend does. That's a really cool thing, and you're really good at that, editing your videos. There's a lot of great content on your YouTube. For all the viewers watching this, if you haven't checked out his YouTube video, check it out already, or check it out now after this video is done. Now, I have a big question for you. I'm a big autograph collector, and there's memorabilia all around this room. Got these signed at the outdoor practice this year. What is the weirdest autograph request you've ever gotten?
I haven't gotten too many weird ones or anything like that. I mean, usually it's just the cards out of the rink. Guys are pictures, just asked to sign those. I mean, well, we have like some events with younger kids, and they bring out like their phone cases or their like completely non-hockey related hats and stuff. Or so I'm like, are you sure you want me to sign this? I'm not ruining your hat or anything like that. So I think that's the those are the weirdest things I've gotten. I'm waiting for something more weird to come out, but yeah, like phone cases and uh, yeah, like random hats, and I feel like I'm just destroying someone's hats and shirts, but uh, they've always been happy about it. So
Yeah, I've never I've never asked for an autograph on anything too weird. I think the weirdest thing's probably like a lunch pail, but it had the Maple Leafs logo on it, so that's not too weird.
yeah.
But I was uh I was watching a video of just NHL players talking about the weirdest thing they ever signed, and Jonathan Quick, believe it or not, he signed a half-eaten grilled cheese.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for someone to ask me to sign that.
That would be but do you think you'd sign that?
If they asked me to, I probably wouldn't say no.
Well, that's there you go. So, I have a question here in the comments section, and I wanted to put it up here for you. How did you find the transition coming from Finland to play uni hockey in the USA?
Um, it was pretty easy for me. I mean, I came. I had played 3 years of juniors in Finland, and then I came over and I came to Minnesota, and like the weather, like I said, the weather is like the same. It has all 4 seasons, and you look outside, it reminds me of Finland. So that part was taken care of. And I mean, I came to a small town, so there was not much of a culture shock in that. And then it was all hockey, so that's kind of what all of us know. So and then and things started going well, and obviously when hockey is going well, it doesn't really matter where you are and what's going on. So um, it worked out pretty good for me, and I think I just kind of when I came over, it kind of worked out for me better. I kind of found some energy and kind of reinvented my career that I had at that point, and hockey was a little different, and it worked out for me. So very grateful that I took the step to come play junior hockey here, and obviously led to the scholarship at UMD, and then to the contract with the Leafs.
That's awesome. That's awesome that the transition was easy for you, not too much culture shock. I guess it really is similar in Canada to Finland, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, especially what's going on outside. I mean, Toronto is a huge city, so that's something that I wasn't really used to. That kind of caught me off guard, but yeah, everything else I'm kind of it's my 7 years in North America now, so I feel like I'm more comfortable here than going back to Finland. So, but I mean, for us, it worked out here, and it works out back home in Finland. So, I'm happy about it.
That's awesome. Another question here in the comments section. What was it like not having any fans in the arena while in the bubble?
It was different for sure. I mean, they had like the fan sounds on the on the coming out of the speakers, and but they had that big stage with all those screens. So that was actually pretty cool since we were right on the opposite side, and so the rink looked actually pretty cool. So not like I'm watching on at empty seats or anything like that. So first exhibition game, I think we played Montreal, and you could there was no sounds on or anything like that, so you could hear guys talking on the ice. So that was pretty cool, just to kind of hear the raw sounds of the puck bouncing around and hitting the stick. So it was definitely different, but the league definitely made it look nice, and it was a pretty cool experience to watch the game like that.
Yeah, the presentation was great on TV. Um, you were mentioning the crowd noise that was being pumped into the arena. Did you ever notice like the timing was off of that? I'm not sure. I can't attest to that, but did you ever notice that the timing was off?
I mean, you knew it was fake, but I mean, it did sound. I didn't even realize they were playing it like in some of the games, like just in general crowd noise when the game was going on. But it sounded better with the crowd noise than other than not. Uh, and then obviously if there was a couple big opportunities or big saves or goals, like then they like amped it up but you didn't really even realize it until you started focusing on it, So um but yeah, I kind of like how they did that, and it definitely from the exhibition game it sounded so quiet and raw. It kind of made it feel normal when they were playing those sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really notice the sounds being different at all, to be honest. I mean, they did a real good job on TV. It looked like a great presentation. I just noticed that the fans weren't there, but I got used to it after about a week.
Yeah.
Um, Now, for all the viewers, this is Leafs Talk Live, and thank you for watching this. If you are watching this right now, be sure to smash the like button, hit the notification bell, and check out Kasimir Kaskisuo's YouTube channel. He's on Instagram, Twitter, at Kaskisuo. Um, but we have two more questions here in the chat that I'd like to get to. These are questions just for you. Was it hard to get motivated playing in the bubble?
I mean, I didn't play, so that's not really a question for me. I was just watching from the stands. I mean, but I don't think for the other guys, it wasn't hard at all. I mean, you're still in the playoffs, and everybody's dreams to win the Stanley Cup, so you're playing towards that. So, and everybody's excited to get back and play again. So, I don't think that played a role at all. Guys were fired up to play and gave it their all.
Awesome. And this is the last question we have for you here. Have you ever gotten into a goalie fight, and have you ever been close to one?
No fights for me. It's probably better to keep it that way too. But it's there been a close one. I maybe like some. I don't even remember where then this was, but I think the other goalie on the other end was like shaking his gloves, and I was like, no, like not for me. I think there's like a scrum in front of my net or something. But yeah, I'll probably try to stay away from fighting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good theory. So, thank you for joining the show. This was an awesome experience. This was great to have you on Leafs Talk Live. Hopefully, have you back one day. And all of Leafs Nation, myself included, we're all wishing you the best of luck with the Nashville Predators organization. Thank you for doing this. Do you have anything you'd like to say to close out the show?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, and make sure to subscribe to this channel for sure. And big thanks for shouting out my channels as well. I'm trying to get some more videos out for you guys.
Okay. Thank you, viewers. See you next week. Tuesday, 7:30. I'll be back here on